Hey guys, Suraj from the Final Say. We're still here with John and we've got Rishi back in. Today we're going to be discussing top 10 centre midfielders in the Premier League since 1990 and also the top 10 wingers in the Premier League since 1990 to the present day. So John, why don't you tell us your top 10 centre mids, just read them out and then give your reasoning after that if you like, but hit us with your top 10.
So I've got Vieira, Scholes, Yaya Toure, Frank Lampard, Cesc Fabregas, JJ Okocha, Letitia, and Juan Mata. Oh, and João Moutinho.
Nice.
So I've tried to mix it up there a bit. I've tried to do through the years, but go for it.
Well, what's the criteria? How did you base your top 10?
So I based it on, firstly, I kind of essentially put a couple of them like Yaya just to one side because they were always going to make it. And then for me, I thought about what football was like growing up, watching the Premier League. That's where people like Letitia came because as a Wolves fan.
Letitia is quality.
Yeah, he's quality.
Like club legends were always a thing. Spoke about Steve Bull in the past, always playing for his club, being from Wolverhampton. So Letitia was another one of those for me. Always played for Southampton, club legend, is a big one for me.
Goals.
Who else? Fabregas. I mean, again, I remember him turning up and then football kind of changing a little bit, like that midfield, almost like that false number 10 kind of came into the game.
He kind of done it all.
Yeah. Obviously, people like Lampard, I kind of had to give the credit to. It was Lampard or Gerrard, but I'm always going to pick Lampard.
You picked Lampard over Gerrard, or have you got Gerrard in your 10?
No, I picked Lampard over Gerrard.
Wow. So Gerrard don't make a 10.
Why?
No Premier League trophy.
Yeah, but that's not exactly his fault.
No, it's not. But
imagine Gerrard played for Chelsea.
I think that's brutal, and I'm
I'll
hold my hands up. But
I mean, Gerrard has to get in for me. There's too. He's got too much Arsenal and too. I don't hold it back against him too much that he played for Liverpool. I'm quite glad that he sort of he did what he did, and if he ends up with no trophy, that's for us to use against him or against their fans, really. But in terms of him as a player, for me, probably top 5 Premier League midfielders. Rishi, do you want to go through your 10?
Right.
And just reel them off? Did you have subs, by the way, or anything like that? Are we going to do subs? No. Did you any honourable mentions then?
Well, you just said Gerrard. Gerrard didn't be an honourable mention,
John.
Surely.
Does Gerrard even get an honourable mention, John, or not?
Yeah, I'll throw it out there.
Yeah.
He did
that is brutal.
Frank Lampard over Gerrard, and Gerrard not in the top 10 centre midfielders of the Premier League.
Yeah, I said it. Don't at me.
Wow. Someone will give you a Twitter handle out later, and please at him. That's pretty ridiculous, let's be honest. All right, Rishi, how about your top 10 centre mids?
I didn't look at who I enjoyed watching necessarily, but from ability
why not?
But from ability wise, I'm talking about I'm talking from ability wise because there's loads of players that I rather watch play, but I'm just talking from ability. So I'm gonna go from 10. I got Alonso as number 10. I just think he was just a quality player that sit back in that Liverpool midfield. I just thought
run through them all and we'll talk about them.
All right, okay. So Alonso, Fabregas, that's 9. Silva 8. It's quite recency bias, to be honest. De Bruyne,
is that David Silva?
Yeah, of course. De Bruyne 7. Yaya Toure 6. If he played more, I'd have had him higher. Frank Lampard 5. I had Keane 4. Vieira 3. Gerrard 2. And Scholes 1. So I'm always going to put Paul Scholes up there because I think that he made United tick in just general. Yeah. If you took Paul Scholes out of that United team, they wouldn't have won half the Premier Leagues they won. I don't care what anyone says. The guy just controls that midfield. And then that allowed, and obviously Keane, who allowed Scholes to do what he did because he took all the burden of making sure that the back four were covered. But he was allowed to. If out of all the players that United ever had, Scholes would be able to get into Barcelona. We don't know whether he'll be able to get in as first team, but he could have played with him.
Yes, he will. 100%. There's no question.
No, but he could have got. Look, it just depends on.
He's as good as Iniesta and Xavi. He's as good as, and I'm sure they all want to play with him. And if you listen to their comments, they see him as a peer. They see him as someone that you kind of, and even them, they admire him. So I think the top quality players look at each other and admire each other and say, "Oh, it'd be nice to play with you." And there's a reason why, because they're seeing stuff.
That Zidane complimented him. Yeah, it's just.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter about the compliment. The guy's got 10 Premier League titles. How many people can say that?
Yeah. And with Gerrard, that's the thing. What we were saying before, he could play literally anywhere in that midfield, and he had to do a lot more than other players. Imagine Gerrard had someone like Roy Keane or Vieira beside
Gerrard's whole role was different. In for starters, Paul Scholes is not a captain. He didn't have to be a captain. We had a captain there. But
I don't think Gerrard needed to be. Or if Gerrard had
to be everything to that team, because that team lived off Gerrard. Like, they always had some other guy that might be considered world class or something. Maybe as a striker, like you had Torres for a little bit, you had this guy for a little bit, that guy. But they never had that. They never had a guy in their team who was consistently there as someone that you would say is a draw for other players to want to come and play. The only player that you want to come and play with in Liverpool in those days, like for that span of time, would be Steven Gerrard. Like, he's their captain, Marvel. He's done everything for them.
Right.
Istanbul, all of that stuff, all of the stuff that happened, is like, out of all the players in the Premier League, he is probably the one that you would say, the one player that deserved the Premier League that never won it, kind of thing. And I'm saying that.
I always thought that he tried to take too much
on that player. If he had gone anywhere else, he would have enhanced his chance. If he had gone to Chelsea and gone and done that, he probably would be. We wouldn't talk about it. Just like Robin van Persie took that move from Arsenal. He was like that. He was their legend. He was a top gun. But he wanted to make that move. He wanted that title more than the legacy at Arsenal. It's not a legacy if you can't back it up. It's the hardest thing in the world to say. You can't say, I've got the greatest legacy in the world, but I don't have one thing that cements my legacy. So someone like Robin van Persie, who took the plunge and said, "Do you know what? I just want to walk away with something."
He wanted to be a Liverpool legend. But he is now.
He is a Liverpool. So that's the thing. Gerrard turned in his chance for a Premier League to be the biggest legend in Liverpool. And that's what he is. So. Like, that's why to some extent I do have him in my top 10, but I can understand a tiny bit where John's coming from. But obviously, I think that's crazy at the same time. He's definitely a top 10.
I just think ability-wise, like, he could do everything. The problem that I had was that he tried to do everything. And what he did for Liverpool, he tried to push that into England, and I think it didn't work. He needed to just
he had to understand he was playing with players that could support him
6 roles or 5 roles, and that's but I think ability-wise, and if he had someone like a Keane or Vieira beside him, and he was playing, and he had to just...
He would have given him more freedom to be...
Exactly, and he would have just been good at that specific role. He would have been great, and that's why I'm putting him as number 2.
It's almost like a little bit of a tragic tale, because like he's heralded, but at the same time, like, you can keep using that against him, and it's something that unfortunately is what it is, sort of thing.
I think the opposite. I reckon it would have been diluted if he'd have left Liverpool, because with Liverpool, he had the heritage, he had all the team was built around him, he had the fans' love. I think it's one of those things that if he'd have moved to a Chelsea, I think a lot of that, like, he did a lot, and I think that's what helped him, that he tried to do so much. Whereas I think in another club, if he's
that love has got to keep him warm, because he's lacking that one trophy that to look back on, and it's a hard one. It's a hard one. Do you always see out your club? Okay, pick another club. Let's say Harry Kane for Tottenham. Does he do the exact same thing? Does he stay with Tottenham? Does he see his days out and
I think he moves?
He never gets a Premier League, or does he do what you want someone to be successful? He will move. Go to somewhere that enhances your chance of success. Do we blame you for that?
Kane didn't even start with Spurs.
Do club legends even matter anymore right now? And you say, we always hope there will be a club legend, but I don't think it has the same resemblance as people. I think now you get much more mercenary attitude where contracts play a part, and all the rest. You go to China, you go and play football, wherever. I think the days of, like, let me stay down for this 20 years, unless you're homegrown and you're really good and you nail down your position and all the rest of it, you're going to get some sort of issue along the way. I just think it's rarer these days to see that kind of side of football. Now.
All right, yeah. So I put Vieira 3 over Keane, and I don't know whether that's a controversial thing or not, but the reason why is because I just think
to be honest, your top 5 is kind of your top 5 is kind of what I would have sort of
Expected.
anticipated. Let's have a look at your bottom 5 for a second. What
Okay,
about your
right.
5 to 10?
Okay, so I Yaya Toure just missed out on number 5, but I just said because
I'm glad he's in there. I'm glad everyone recognizes how good midfielder this guy was.
if he played more games,
yeah,
right? The others have like gone past that like 300 games, or like 400.
He just had
500.
for me that
If
I
he
think it
played
was
that,
2012.
he would definitely be in the top 3.
Was it 2012, 2013 season? I can't remember. He had 20 goals in the Premier League, 24 goals, all comps, 10 free kicks.
He's got 62 goals for 200.
90% passing stats for the season, over 2,000.
That's basically when no one knew what to do with him. He was just running
dominant.
And he's not even a proper attacking midfielder. You wouldn't.
That's the thing. Gerrard's best season yielded 24 goals, and Yaya Toure's best season in City yielded 24 goals. So it shows you what kind of level he was pumping, you know. And that was just him.
So as I was saying, is De Bruyne, Silva, Fabregas, Alonso, right? So it's a bit recency bias, but just a bit.
David Silva is an interesting one. You see, I looked at it time and time again, and my thing is I just didn't class him as a centre mid, and I'm wrong. That's the honest truth. So
I know you're wrong.
I had a look at
He's
it.
in mine.
I'm wrong. When you think of David Silva, what position do you think of now? He's not centre mid, but he played enough games. He did play enough games centre mid for City to get all those stats. And if you actually look at his stats, he's got 90 assists. I can't remember.
90 assists.
He's got 90 assists.
50 goals.
So I'm wrong. So I only didn't put David Silva in because I didn't realise how much time he had spent in centre mid. And so that's my omission there.
Yeah, I didn't have Cesc Fabregas high because I just think ability-wise, he was great, technically gifted, good playmaker.
I think we've got to give credit to the top 10. I mean, you're trying to pick the top 10. The fact that he gets in your top 10, I think that's good.
Yeah, but I had a question between. So it was between Fabregas, Alonso, Modric, and Makelele. So
what do you think out of that, John?
Tough list.
Huh? So my 9, 10, 11, 12, I had it in that order, but I could have easily had one of them in my top 10. No doubt. Because Makelele is solid. Kept that back 4. He did it's similar
So who did you have at right at the end? 8, 9, and 10?
Fabregas and Alonso.
So Makelele missed out, and who else?
Modric. Just they didn't play enough. That's the problem. They didn't play enough.
I can understand Modric. I'll quickly. It's just a coin flip between him and Silva because it depends what you want, whether it's defensive or attacking.
Silva played double the amount of games. That's why he should get in.
Well, thankfully, as I kind of ignored David Silva as a centre mid, that opened up a gap for me. So I'll just run through my quick top 10 there. So first I got Paul Scholes. Everything that can be said about him has been said, and all those compliments is like, and he doesn't say about himself. You never see Paul Scholes come out and go like, for example, he hasn't got the Ibrahimovic or the Ronaldo or anything about. He's just a quiet guy, just does his business and gets on with it. Like, and I think in Man United when he got so many egos and everything else, it was pleasant to see someone like Paul Scholes. He could have made a lot of money just out of doing other things alongside football, but he always chose to just go home, deal with his family, whatever, come out, play his football, put your head down, get on. So as well as him being a superb footballer, his attitude and mentality, and it just helped all those other egos in the dressing room that you'd have in Man United. You can't have everybody having an opinion, whatever it is, or having this arrogance. And it's so nice to see Paul Scholes, who's just a quiet guy, just gets on it. That's the reason why people debate with Gerrard and everything. Paul Scholes don't come out and say, I am the greatest. And just he has us fans to try and push his arguments forward. And if he went round puffing his chest, kissing cameras and going mental at every opportunity, he didn't do that. Paul Scholes was a lot. Of course, he enjoys his goals, but it wasn't more than what it needed to be. It was like work. He came, did the work, did the business, and he was out of there. That's Paul Scholes. Like, I
don't know, man. His personality showing as a pundit. At the end of the day, you don't compare a guy with no Premier Leagues to a guy with 10 Premier Leagues and try and put them in the same bracket. It's not. Think about that for a second. Why has this guy got 10 Premier Leagues? And it's not just about everyone else. He controlled the middle. He's the fat controller in the middle. He's the guy that makes the things go round. And look how everyone talks about him. And that's the reason why
the number one midfielder.
10,
Did you have
10
him as number one, John?
10 Premier Leagues. 10
Did you have him
Premier
as
League
number one?
Yeah, I had him as number one.
Yeah.
I always will, to be honest. I think just for not only his passing, but his understanding of football.
Yeah.
Like, you could see that on the pitch. It was a different level. And, I mean, you even hear it in the documentaries in training. He'd pick someone out 40 yards away, you know, on the side of a pitch and hit him in the head. It was just talent. But
it's a shame. It's a shame what happened to his England career. So that was only
got pushed to the left wing, and this. Anyway, number 2, I went with Roy Keane.
Wow.
I don't like. I'm gonna be honest here. I don't think it's just down to just ability wise. Like it's not. I don't think. I think there's other people more technical. This is about what you do in terms of man management. This is about how people see you. This is about, consider that people can say what they want about Roy Keane, but yet he still was able to beef like Vieira and stuff. So you can look at the two and say, oh, he's more technically gifted. But why did this guy give him why was he playing on his mind all the time? Why was it all about this player v this player? You got to understand what Roy Keane did. He took all the pressure from the whole of Man United and he put it onto his shoulders. He's the one that tells you what you're doing is right or wrong. He's the one who tells you move the hell forward. This game ain't over. You're gonna go clap hands with your rivals. He's the man that pulls you back in and says, "This is not how we play football. This is how we play football."
Yeah, but Vieira did the same thing for Arsenal.
Who's more successful?
Yeah, but he had Scholes. You just said he had Scholes. He had Beckham. He had Giggs.
What I'm trying to say is he gave freedom to players like Paul Scholes.
Yeah, but if you were to look at
limelight off the,
yeah, but just compare them.
There are plenty of games. There are plenty of games where he turned up. Like, first of all, Roy Keane turned up to 99.99% of games of Man United. There weren't any games he's shy of. There was no games he was shy of. He played defensive midfield like probably no other player did. And for considering out of all the players that I'm naming, he's probably not the most technically gifted. He had to make up in so many other departments to be considered by not just myself or yourself, but many, many people as one of certainly top 5 midfielders in the Premier League. That's a certainty.
No, I'm not discrediting because he's in your top 10. But if I had to compare ability, I don't know if John agrees with me. But if you compare,
I'm not comparing raw ability. I'm telling you everything else he did and more.
Yeah, but he did the same. Vieira did the same thing for Arsenal. Like when they went on that unbeaten, he was the man. Like he was the guy. No one messed with him. And like what he has over Keane is like, if you were to compare like headering, for example, Vieira's taller, he headers the ball better. If you were to compare who tackles better, Vieira tackles better. Faster, Vieira's faster.
Personally for me, I just think he's more of a commander. I think people like in the Arsenal team, think of it like this: in the Arsenal team, yeah, they're probably all to some extent like look up to Vieira and listen to him to that extent. In Man United, you naturally have egos. I've always said this. Like, you got to understand that we are a team, right? Fergie said so many times that I didn't actually have to manage the game when I have Roy Keane on the pitch. Now, how the hell can you say that's the same thing Patrick Vieira did for Arsene Wenger? Arsene Wenger was a coach from the bottom to the top.
He had other players.
Ferguson was your motivator. Ferguson made an average player look good. And Roy Keane
needed so many these factors around him, though. Like, he needed Scholes, he needed Beckham. Vieira, you could have dropped.
I don't know if he needed. Like you alluded to earlier. You put Roy Keane next to Steven Gerrard, you got a Premier League title for Liverpool, yes or no? Think about that for just a second, yes or no?
Because he hasn't got the actual, you know, the
can Patrick Vieira and Steven Gerrard actually even play together when they both want to control?
Okay, all right. The better question is, if Vieira went into United and Keane wasn't there, and Vieira, would United win titles? John, what do you think? If Vieira replaced, hands down, easy. Can you imagine Vieira being in that
moving teams?
I think it might be better.
Couldn't win a title for 30 years, and I'll give you Roy Keane, and neither of you could say no.
No, but
think about that for a second.
But I get that. But if I had to give Vieira's backline against United's backline, exactly, with Keane playing.
What I'm saying, okay, for someone who's technically inferior, right? Why was it all about that player then? Why did he not care so much about the rest of Man United? Why is his focus?
No, I get it from a leader standpoint, but I just think Vieira, ability-wise, beat him in majority of the stuff.
It's like think about it like this: Muhammad Ali versus what's his name, Rashid?
George Foreman.
Frazier.
Oh, okay, Frazier.
And you know how Muhammad Ali just had his focus on him, and he kind of elevated him. Because if he just left it all alone and he didn't do all that mind stuff, you'd just say hands down, Muhammad Ali is the the king of the world. But whenever you think about Joe Frazier, you think about how much hassle he gave Ali and how Ali's whole focus became back, how that motivated that man to become more, and how we talk about Muhammad Ali as the best in the world. But without Frazier, would he become even that? It's like how much that guy meant to him is more than what he. Do you understand that to some extent?
I get it, but who's meant to be Keane and who's meant to be Vieira in that?
I can't tell you whether Vieira would have won things with Man United. Like I can just tell you that looking at Roy Keane.
If you look at his international
Roy Keane
career,
was the manager on the pitch. Roy Keane held down the DM position probably as well as Vieira, if not better, in my opinion. I think in terms of respect, I don't think there's any player more feared or respected in the whole Premier League than Roy Keane in his prime. And that goes for Vieira as well. I don't think there's a single.
I'd say fear, not respect exactly. Man.
Fear and respect. Fear and respect. You knew not to mess with him, whether you knew him or not.
But that's not respect. That's fear.
Yeah, that's fear to
what
me.
he did there.
I'm sure if you knew him, you would respect him.
Anyway,
it's born out of respect to some extent. You don't mess around. He's not there to play. He's not there. He's there to teach all these.
He's not there to play. That's the sum of it. He's not there to play. He's there to do all the other jobs, like you said, because he had Scholes around him.
It's all part of the team. There's. I think we're flicking between certain players whereby if we'd flick them over, it doesn't seem too much of them. But
it's right with the rest of yours.
So I've got Patrick Vieira third. So it's a toss-up between second and third.
Okay, yeah.
But I've gone for the success edge over it.
Steven Gerrard. Okay.
4 Yaya Toure, because unlike my number 5, I feel like number 4 had that right focus. We alluded to it. My number 5 is Gerrard, but we alluded to it in terms of him trying to do almost too much because he had all this too much responsibility. They were too dependent on him, and he had to end up doing too much. So with Yaya Toure, he could focus. He could focus what his job was, and as a result, I feel he was more efficient to the whole of Man City. He was more influential and possibly the best in the world in that position at that time. Where's my number? Okay, so 5 was Gerrard. 6, Makelele. World class.
Yeah.
World class. What else can I say? The guy commanded. He held down that position. And a lot of people call it the
didn't play
Makelele role.
enough for me.
A lot of people call it the Makelele role when you sit in front of defence now. They dubbed it that for a long time. And just purely because he no one done that role like him. Number 7, I'm going to give it to another Chelsea lad, Frank Lampard.
Makelele over Frank.
102 assists and bags of goals. Like, I don't think he's the most attractive footballer to anybody that does lists, like who checks out these players. I don't think but his sheer record is just too much. Like whether you think he adds that much or not, it's just too much in the team.
Are you talking about Lampard?
Yeah,
Frank Lampard. Yeah, 102 assists and how many goals? I don't know. He is a monster. Let's be fair to him. Number 8, I went Cesc Fabregas.
Yeah.
100 plus assists, bags of goals. Not only did he play centre mid, he played the Makelele role as well to some extent. He actually played deeper for Chelsea. He's actually played further up, and even when he went, like for example, Barca, he's versatile. He's just one of them Spanish types of players that actually let's stick you anywhere because really you can play football. Good vision and stats. I think the stats back him up. Centre mid, he deserves top 10, and he makes it in number 8 for me. Number 9, I've gone Xabi Alonso. The range, the beautiful play. I think he was a big player for Liverpool. Don't probably talk about him much. I know I say, it didn't work with him.
He didn't play enough. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the problem.
If he played 300 games, he would be much higher up.
Yeah. But for what he did play, what he was worth, Xabi Alonso was very beautiful to watch on the eye, sort of thing. He was a very nice type of player. Once again, I would love to see him and Scholes maybe play and see what they would do, how they would dominate a game. And then lastly, number 10, I've gone for Mikel Essien. So
who?
Essien for me.
Oh, Essien. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once again, I'd probably say for me,
Chelsea.
There was a period of time where I watched him play football for Chelsea, whereby I thought to myself when I watched him play that is possibly I'm looking at the best player in the world in this position. Like there was I don't know if I can say for the whole of his career, but he was solid. He was absolutely solid. But I just remember watching him for like a whole season, and I was like, Essien, you're ridiculous right now. You're doing everything. You do everything. Like, you know, dubbed him like the Ghanaian devil. He just seemed to be everywhere, marauding. Can play deep, plays a bit of centre mid. I think he played a bit deeper overall, but I don't know. That whole team had Makaleli and everything. That whole team was disgusting. So
okay, how are you having Alonso on your list and you didn't have De Bruyne?
Yeah.
That for me, that's a bit weird because they played okay, if we just look at stats first, they played the same amount of games and De Bruyne whacked him 3 times.
I think De Bruyne is a bit of a odd one because I don't really see him so much as a centre mid as I see him, like, again, similar to David Silva. I think he don't really sit in the middle of the park, but he can do, I guess. He has the ability to. So it's one of them. I kind of wanted to pick guys that had done their business right.
He's an attacking midfielder. He should be classified in the central midfielders. Like what you talk about.
For me, it's almost like David Silva. Like these guys can potentially be false. Like, you know, number 10s.
You're making it too complex.
I know it's number 8.
You're making it too complex.
Yeah, it was, but like for me, I was thinking more Cesc Fabregas. You stick him in the middle of the park, and if he wants to move forward or back, he can do that. But he plays in the middle of the park. When I picked De Bruyne, I start putting him. Do you know what I mean? I don't put him here. I start putting him top right, bit further in.
You think of really, De Bruyne being the guy on the end of like doing the cross rather than the guy.
Yeah, but he's the playmaker for me. For me, he's like the playmaker. It's just because they got David Silva, they can afford to put 2 like that. But it's like, you know, for me,
midfielders can be
playmakers, dude.
Central midfielders can be playmakers.
Yeah, but I mean, I honestly, if because they've got so much talent, they have to kind of put them where they can put them, sort of thing. But
okay, wait. If you had one second. So clarity. If you had a 4-5-1 formation, right? Yeah.
4-5-1.
Yeah, and those 3 in the middle, are they classified as central midfielders to you? Regardless if 1 up or 2 back or 2 up and 1 back.
Yeah, but
forget the 1, but in the 5, that's the De Bruyne.
Without getting too complicated, there's centre mid and then there's centre attacking mid. So I don't want to get too. Sorry.
They're both the same. Like you have to put them in there.
I think with all the formations nowadays,
because you said Lampard.
It is the evolution. I guess I'm thinking quite traditionally about it. It is the evolution of football. Yeah, like you say, you can play like a whole segment of the pitch, or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. I don't strictly think of Kevin De Bruyne. I can almost think of him. He could even play wing forward if he wanted to, the way he plays. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see him play in the Sadio Mane position or play in the number 10 like an Eden Hazard or play anywhere. Like, I just think he can play anywhere. So I didn't nail him down as a centre mid. But would he still make my list against the 10 I've got here? Right now, I'd probably say no. Like, these players, I feel... Maybe Xabi Alonso, like maybe that could be up for grabs or something like that. But really and truly, I love Xabi Alonso, and I think he did it at a time when it was different. Like now, it's like an evolution of football. You're going to get more sort of these kind of types of players that can play all across the park rather than a genuine centre mid. Like when I'm thinking more genuine centre mid, like they sit in the midfield role, and that's their job. If they want to move forward or back, that's fine. But genuinely, all the play comes through the middle of them, as opposed to going out and then redistributed back in. But yeah. Those are the 10. Done? So,
okay. Got anything to add, John? Or do you want to move to the wingers now?
No, it's all good.
All right, move to your wingers.
All right, we're going to cover the top 10 wingers from the Premier League since 1990. John, you started with the midfielders. Do you want to go with the wingers?
Yeah. So tricky what you class as a winger, but I've gone with.
Yeah, I've gone traditional, but yeah.
Gone with Beckham.
Okay. Well, 1.
So number 1's Beckham. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. I actually haven't done these in order of like preference, but you can take it as it is. Hazard, Giggs, Sterling, Steve McManaman, Ginola, Pires, Cristiano Ronaldo, Bale, and then for a modern one, Adama Traore. To respect my own.
Nice. You've gone for mix. You've gone for quite like Sterling. That immediately caught the ear because it is someone I looked at and then I kind of like, again, I think I've been caught up in the romance of the 1990s of football.
The reason why I put him in is because Sterling at Liverpool, watched him, good player. Never thought he'd kind of get better than that. The last couple of years, like the evolution of him. Yeah, I've been very impressed.
With Sterling, actually, it's funny because he's from down the road. He's Is it Harrow Wild or something like that? Like, he's
Yeah.
literally down the road.
Well, he was in Copeland.
And actually, we followed him from a sense from QPR, from one of their head youth coaches saying that he's the best product ever. And actually, I followed him from that kind of age all the way up to his ascension to sort of Man City. So someone actually really, really familiar with in terms of, he was dubbed a very high class product, and he has just developed a way that, usually they say this about a lot of players, and then the development doesn't come. He's one of the players that the development has come, and he was actually foretold.
Finally,
this,
it's only last 2
he didn't
seasons.
make my list. Okay, well, we'll talk about my own list later. But it's a tough one. It is such a flipping tough one because I've gone with romance in football as opposed to guys that probably deserve to be there. Who else was on your list, John? So let's run through.
Obviously, Beckham, Hazard, Giggs, I think, kind of get in there.
Everyone, yeah.
Steve
McManaman, again, put like amazing runs down the wing, amazing goals. Celtic goal sticks to mind. Went to Real Madrid, won titles. Again, looked at it from my childhood. Ginola was insane when he moved to Premier League. Yeah. Perez for Arsenal. Him and Henry just ripped it up.
Perez slightly underrated, I think, because we always bang on about Henry, but Robert Perez was probably as influential for Arsenal picking up that league. I don't know if he was really close to winning Player of the Year or whether he actually won it, Robert Perez.
I don't think he won it.
That one, I can't remember.
But yeah, I think in that team he did a lot, and I think the assists alone, I haven't got the numbers, but yeah, must have been ridiculous. Obviously, Ronaldo, I kind of looked at it from Premier League, so being on the right for United. Yeah. Obviously, Bale being on the left, same kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I put Adama Traore for a modern player because I think right now, if you had to look at all the wingers in the Premier League, there's no winger who has 3 people marking him at once. And whether that's his pace, he's been at so many clubs.
He is unpredictable. He's like a bag of tricks.
I mean, it's ridiculous. But the difference is when we bring him on, he takes out 2 or 3 players, not because of talent, not even when he's got the ball, is because they don't know if to mark close to him and he's going to run off, if to stand back on him and he's going to push him out the way. I mean,
it's probably a little bit of that Ronaldo effect when you just don't know what the guy is capable of potentially, what they're going to go for, and slowly the fear does build up.
And I've said it to you, Shah, that I don't think he'll be any good when he leaves us. I think the combination of Nuno and Adama has worked so well. Adama's played at 7 clubs prior to us, Middlesbrough, Villa, all those, and flopped. There's something about how Nuno doesn't give him any praise. Like, it just works, and it almost like that Keane moment where he hasn't got all that talent, but he's got something, and just having the right person to drive you to get better. And never.
After you said your selections, I'm not even going to critique that hard because. Again, I've got a big omission. So, Rishi, you want to run through your 10?
Okay, all right. I haven't got McManaman in mind. Well, I've kind of forgot about him. But no, I don't know if I would. To be fair,
but for you being a United fan and banging on about Ronaldo, that's a disgrace. You see that? That's a bloody disgrace. That is.
Well, okay. Just before I say, okay, here we go. just before I say my list, I haven't got Ronaldo in there because I put him as a forward striker in mind.
Yeah,
I thought in the last 2 years he
for us he was probably as much winger.
I thought
he was, but I thought when he started to play more that forward role, where he was playing on the right, but more 4-3-3.
In the Premier League, he still goes down as one of the best wingers and probably one of the best.
Yeah, but that's because the stats. If you come on, man, he played in 4-3-3. That's why I don't. But anyway, I just don't have him in there.
Wing forward.
Yeah,
Wing. It's in the name. Come on.
Okay, I have number 10 Overmars. I think back then, like every time he used to get the ball, for some reason he used to do well against United as well. And every time he got the ball, he was really quick. He was one of the fastest players in the league at the time when he was in his prime. He didn't play enough, but he was destructive when
that's okay. Sometimes talent is enough. Like you can see it and you can say.
I don't need to explain. Ginola number 9. I have
Who was before Ginola?
Huh?
Who did you say before Ginola?
Overmars. So Overmars number 10, number 9 Ginola.
Yeah.
Number 8 Sterling. Number 7 Bale, because Bale didn't play. Bale would be higher if he played more as a winger. He didn't play enough. Number 6. Here's the thing: do you classify Mane as a winger?
I was so torn about putting Mane
So I put
in.
Mane in.
Yeah, Mane's a winger. He's wing forward. He's a
Yeah.
winger.
Well, yeah, he has to get in there. He's been brilliant for 2 years, man. He's been solid. So yeah, we don't need to really explain about him. But number 5, Hazard. You guys
Yeah.
had him in there. Number 4, Perez.
Yeah.
I think he was one of the best wingers
Easily.
ever. Yeah, in the Premier League. When Henry was in his prime, Henry needed some like Perez on that right. So
Perez was unsung. Well, you know, I think if you know football and you watch that, definitely everyone can see Robert Perez was. I honestly don't know if he won some sort of accolade that particular season or not. And I know the ankle injury came up and it sort of put a dampener on all of his.
I think he still stands out with all those negatives.
But yeah, he was
one of the
brilliant.
best wingers.
Yeah, he was. And technically gifted as well. Like not a lot of the wingers are that technically gifted, and
Yeah.
you know, he was brilliant. Like his control. I think he was better than Giggs in terms of controllers. Number 3. Okay, so this is a bit weird. So I know he played in the 80s. He did really well in the 80s, but he can kind of. It's like what I said about Van Basten, right?
Let's see.
Barnes.
Come on, Rishi. Who?
Barnes.
Yeah, no, fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I agree.
I have John Barnes. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, he was in his.
I'm surprised he's so far up your list, but yeah, no, fair
I
enough.
thought he did really well, and he played a lot of games, and he won the title for Liverpool. So it's not like in the 90s as well. So
man can rap as well.
Yeah, he was great at running past players and everything. So I don't see why he wouldn't be there. He obviously did a lot of it before the 90s, but he still in the 90s won the Premier League.
I gave him his portion. His portion was worth of 90s football. I'm not rating him on his 80s football.
Number 2, Beckham. He can't really. Yeah, and number 1, Giggs. So Giggs has to get in there. He's played too many games to not be in there.
If I had an argument with Giggs, all he's got to do is walk over to the trophy cabinet, take a picture, and send it to you. That's all he's got to do. You might be able to in your lifetime do a bit part role and potentially fluke one Premier League, maybe. You don't win over 10 Premier League titles without being instrumental.
How old was he when he retired as well?
Say that again.
How old was he when he retired? I mean, I played forever.
39.
Well, I can say he started 17. He scored in 20 consecutive Premier seasons. Is that right? 19 or 20. Now, just think about that now. That's not achievable really in this day and age. It's probably never going to be achievable.
632 games in the Premier League.
Goals and assists.
Just insane.
Giggs, was it 162 assists?
Yeah.
Well, he played a lot of games, but the appearances for me
he held it down
out
for years. Yeah, I mean, but it's just what you expect of him. Like his standard was high. You expect high caliber football every time that man touches the ball. He's probably one of them that you could not touch. I remember Milan, Inter Milan. AC Milan, there was hovering around at just 1 year or something like that. It was like no. He's one of him and Paul Scholes. You could put 500 million down, but because of the value of what they meant to Man United and what they actually ended up reaping, it's worth more than that. Let's be honest. To Man United winning 10 titles, that puts you on the map for 10 years non-stop. Or with Giggs' case, it was more than 10 titles. It's like, right now certain people are going to go over the moon winning their first title in 30 years, and these guys have got over 10 titles between Scholes and Giggs. They've got over 20, 30. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy talk. You're never going to see this again. Like it's almost like they were so good. Like it almost takes away from what they really achieved. Like
it's only when it finished, you could really respect it. Like at your height, of United's height with the class '92 and everything, it just became a thing. United won.
It's like a machine. It was the passion was barely like it was hard to be passionate and love every moment when around the corner there's another cup or final and you're nervous about it, and then those Champions League losses against Barca, the whole season's got written off, even though we were Premiership winners and stuff like that. It's obviously incredible. And now you look at it now, if you win a Premiership now, you're a king. Different. It's totally different. I'll run through my top 10 then, Rishi. I'll run through that.
Yeah, yours must be pretty similar.
I'll start off with number one, Giggs. Yeah,
Easy.
I mean, if you open up a dictionary and if they could have winger, just a picture of Ryan Giggs running down the wing.
Here we go.
Like that is what, if you grew up in any of the 90s and coming into the 2000s, all of that stuff, like that is what a winger is. The guy that's actually how I picture a winger, like in doing that stuff on the touchline, all the rest of it. That is to me the definition of a winger, a pure traditional winger, Ryan Giggs. My thing. So number two, Cristiano Ronaldo. As a winger, the most devastating. The thing is, as a Man United fan, Rishi, how long did it take you to know? Be honest. How long after watching Cristiano Ronaldo did you look at this guy and say to yourself, this guy can be the best in the world? How long did it take you?
I didn't say the best in the world, but
No. I'm just asking you, genuine question. So how long did it take you? Like, when you saw him on the wing, at what point did you look at Cristiano Ronaldo and say to yourself, I'm watching someone?
When he first started to, just before the last 2 seasons, I thought he was going to be a great player. When it was the last 2 years, I thought he was going to.
From game one, forget game one. Let's be ruthless about this. He tore up Man United. We put down 12.5 million.
Yes, but he had no end product, bro. He had no end product.
Don't worry about that. You don't worry about it. Listen to look at it. Watch his evolution as a footballer. Watch what he did on the pitch. All of a sudden, people don't know. He was pulling off trick off. Just watch him as in his first season. Forget what he became. Watch him in his first season and tell me that the trick after trick after trick after trick after executed trick.
Okay, ask John the same question because he's not a United fan. So,
John, did you watch Cristiano Ronaldo closely when he started for Man United? Did you see him in his first?
I watched it a lot, but I don't think you could ever imagine kind of the scales he got to. Yeah. Like it kind of started snowballing, but you see so many players do this, like to get to the heights that he went to. Like it was just insane, but
I don't know.
Dude, he's not. You remember, Ronaldo's not reached the point of being the best in the world. He could be arguably the greatest.
No. So my question was, at what point did you, when you was watching Cristiano Ronaldo, did you suddenly start realizing that we've got potentially one of the best players in the world, or someone that can be
early in terms of,
like, for me, it was very early on because we've got Ryan Giggs
in the same.
We've got Ryan Giggs, we've got all of them, yeah. We've got all these players that I can watch and I can say, oh, look at how skillful you are. When Ronaldo came, he came like a breath of fresh air. And this is for a team that still had quality, real good quality. And he got played very soon. He didn't get integrated. They didn't integrate him like they're trying to integrate like Phil Foden into Man City or whatever it is now. They pushed him in there.
His career after the Portugal incident that
some
really
of the tricks he pulled off in that first year, he hasn't done again. Watch those tricks he pulled off in that first year. Regardless, you watch Samba football, you watch '94, you watch Brazil and all that. When this guy came out and started pulling off these tricks in the middle of Premier League matches, and he was successful at doing it, and he was giving people then they started doubling up on him. Watch how soon they started doubling up on Cristiano Ronaldo in the Premier League. And he was able to move from the wing to wing forward, cross the ball in, cut in, start shooting. Then we realised free kicks. All of a sudden, he started taking all the free kicks for Man United. Then all of a sudden, he goes, I'm going to take all the penalties for Man United.
Yeah, but did you hear what Gary Neville said? Like, Gary Neville said it, right? He said he took his career more seriously after coming back from that incident, with Rooney and Ronaldo. Was it the Euros or the World Cup? What was it? I think it was the World Cup. Was it or Euros?
I think.
But basically, he started to go in the weight room. He started to go in the weight room and everything. They go that he basically from.
But remember, some of this is age as well.
That he grew.
Look at a lot of Man United players, from De Gea to Ronaldo to whoever. Man United is very well known for developing body weight on youngsters. Like, if you actually look at Man United players, they're not small players. Even the small players bulk up with Man United. Even Danny Welbeck, whose natural build is very slim, when he was with Man United, he bulked up quite heavily. Like, watch Man United. I've always encouraged any weedy teenager who's really, really talented, come to Man United, because they seem to be able to get you nutritionally in a good way, where your diet seems to consume, and you naturally get bigger. But that comes with age also. You can't just ask a 17-year-old to morph into the body of a 26-year-old ripped.
No, it's true. It's true. But his whole career stemmed after that.
Of course, because he's growing up. But where do you learn everything?
But you're saying the top 10 midfielders. You're talking about top 10 wingers in
as
the
good,
Premier League.
as good as he is as well. He won a Ballon d'Or, and like I say, for people to win
as a
Ballon
forward.
d'Or,
As a forward,
like Thierry
argument.
Henry, it makes sense. It's just evolution of football. If you're going to be if you're going to start scoring if you're scoring 25 goals from left back, should you be left back? No. Just like eventually we'll look at Thierry.
Okay, look, if you do a 4-3-3,
Gareth Bale started as a left back. Was he a shit left back? Like when he started producing and running? No, he had to get into
that's
that
not the
position.
point.
He had to grow. He had to become Gareth Bale. But
that's not the point.
Where they start,
Suraj, that's not the point though. But
you're saying that you saw this from day one. Like, did you see a guy who was going to score more goals than games he played in?
what I paid attention to was how he got transferred. No, honest to God. The thing I paid attention to is how the transfer came about, and it came about because the Man United players went to Sir Alex Ferguson after we played a friendly with Sporting Lisbon, and they said, we've just been terrorised by this guy. That's the day I took notice. And then from that moment, I'm always excited about Man United talent coming through with Mason Greenwood or whatever. But you won't see me saying today Mason Greenwood will be a world beater. I don't know that. But very shortly after watching Cristiano Ronaldo play for Man United, just the first few times, there was so much about him.
Even Alex Ferguson knew that. In his biography, he didn't even know that he was going to be a world beater.
There's some faith there. He didn't just pick up a player for
but he didn't expect him to become a world beater. He thought he was going to be great. He didn't expect him to become better than Giggs.
I agree with you. No one can predict exactly what someone's going to become, but you can see the evolution of a footballer. Like, that's what I'm pointing to and alluding to. Wenger said if he knew this guy would get in the box as much as he did, he would have bought him. But Wenger says that about everything. He said, I would have bought this guy.
Yeah, he does.
The person who bought him was Sir Alex Ferguson. Why did he buy him? He didn't scout Cristiano Ronaldo at first. He bought him on the basis that the whole of the Man United team went to him and said, this guy had just...
I agree with all of that.
Watch the Sporting Lisbon friendly with Man United and Cristiano Ronaldo tears Man United.
Me and John are saying you wouldn't have known him being a world beater.
One thing is, what I'm trying to say is the
in the world. He's arguably the best in the world. It's different from being
what you got to understand is how many people terrorize
above as well.
So when he scores those,
you got to start somewhere. And he has all the tools there. He has all the good nutritionists. He has all the good educators. He has Sir Alex Ferguson as your flipping mentor. He has everything to become what he needs to become. But what I'm trying to say is, there was evidence there that you could see, even coming from the reason why we purchased him was because of how dangerous he was, and that's
okay. Let me turn it
out all of that, and then we know we're going to add to him. We know we've got the best facilities.
Yeah, but turn it around. Wait. My point is, I'm going to ask John this question: if it's a 4-3-3, what are the three players in the front classified as? Are they classified as wingers, or are they classified as forwards or strikers?
Gotta say forwards.
So if that's the case, then cut out the two last seasons, right? Then that means that you're looking back from that time. Then they're wingers. I mean, he's not that of a great winger. Like not in the top 10.
Ronaldo
wingers.
Wasn't a great winger.
He was a good winger.
Better than Nani? Please tell me this is better than Nani. Did you ever rate Nani? Did you ever?
I thought he's okay.
Is he better than Nani? Is he? Come on.
I can't believe you're bringing Nani into this.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He was very inconsistent.
Points in that one season where he did loads of crosses and assists. He got loads of assists. He got a few goals. Nani's like, everyone thinks of him as really, really poor because of his inconsistency, but there is one season where he done really, really well. My point being is, I don't need to draw for Nani. I shouldn't have even drawn for him.
Bad card.
Cristiano Ronaldo was the best thing I've ever seen.
But he evolved.
I don't even give a damn. Like, he would contest Ryan Giggs if it weren't for the fact that Ryan Giggs can't be contested because of the gods of football gave him 20 years of football in the Premier League where he was dominant. Like no one can do that. Like in this day and age, if you're that good, you go somewhere else or something. Like no one. Aside from Ryan Giggs, easily Cristiano Ronaldo is the best winger in the world. If he wanted to be, it's not our fault that everyone wants to put everyone up front. If you score goals, that's just football. Gareth Bale moved from left back to left mid to left wing forward to, well, he could play up front for Real Madrid if he wanted to. It's the same with Cristiano Ronaldo. Same thing with Cristiano Ronaldo.
All right. We'll let you have that, but I don't agree.
Just because you can play him up front doesn't mean you have to play him up front. You think that for one game, if he's not feeling it, his muscles a little bit tight, you won't let the guy that's feeling a little bit more go up front, and he can play off him, or he can play not just
Yeah,
SS.
but
He can play
you're not
forward.
playing Ronaldo right mid now, are you?
When he gets older, he may get pushed back because he may.
He's not going to get pushed back to the wing. He's going to go up front. He's going to become an alone striker.
He's already up front. He's already up front. He's already up front.
Yeah, but that he evolved. See, when he was younger, he was a winger. Then he went more forward role, and now as he's getting older, because he can't run
what I'm trying
as
to say
much,
is that's just the evolution of the footballer. He became a goal machine like that. That's what my point was.
Adapted.
He had so much in his arsenal. You'd be blind to not say that this guy can. If he just develops naturally.
I get it, but he never played much as a winger as he could have, compared to the other guys you mentioned.
Do you know what? He's my number 2. We haven't even.
I know this.
Go on, rattle through the rest of your list.
All right.
Number 3, Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Number 4, Steve McManaman.
Yeah.
Number 5, David Ginola.
Okay, why Steve McManaman number 4? I want you guys to explain this.
That's high. I mean,
that is high. Sorry.
I think for me,
like I was sort of alluded it to, as I spoke about before with John when we were picking out wingers, why I have him on the right hand side. And for me, like I felt like he was a little bit of a right hand sided Ryan Giggs, not as good as him. Like he didn't have as much or the longevity or the success. But like whenever I watched football back in the day and I watched Liverpool, the way he used to maraud down that right-hand wing, I felt like he was like a pure winger. Like he had that trickery, he had pace. He had smart.
I don't want to be offensive, but every time I hear McManaman, I hear like Anderton comes in my mind as well. So like,
I think he's better than Anderton. Steve McManaman's better than. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that era of that type of football. And I feel like that was traditional football because, like you guys talk about now, we talk about like Sadio Mane. We talk about wing forwards and kind of like forwards who can play in multiple positions. That
don't make it complex.
No, but what I'm trying to say is he was the right winger. He was like you sit on the line, you get the ball, you run down the touch line, you commit your man. Like for me, like if you look on the left hand side, you've got Giggs. Like for me, he's like on the right hand side, you've got Steve McManaman. Like that's how I used to see it. Like that was the kind of winger that was the football we played. Rishi, was it not? Like I know we have David Beckham and everything, but do we not like running down those wings and causing mayhem? Like that was what excited me back in the day. We didn't have ticky tacky. Like we didn't have intricate. It was very much you beat your man, you bust down that wing, you whip a ball in, and go bang, and that's and we scored hundreds of goals like that.
It's the 4-4-2.
So for me, it's just the romance of it all. Like if we had Ryan Giggs on the left and we had like Steve McManaman on the right, I could just imagine the terrorism. That's what I call it, just straight up terrorism down our wings. So yeah, I had Steve McManaman in 4, David Ginola in 5, David Beckham in 6, obviously winger as well. And I love the crossing ability.
That's just ridiculous.
It kind of just like limited you in that sense with David Beckham because he was so good with his right foot. Like I feel like it was just
limited.
It's not a negative. It's just
without Beckham, we wouldn't have won.
He didn't have to do too much to the other parts of his game. Like he didn't have to because he had even when he shot, he didn't actually shoot the ball. Sometimes he just opted to curl it because he's just that comfortable.
But if you think of right wingers like Beckham and Neville. That is your, that is your champion. I
mean, he's number 6, but I don't think he's better than Ronaldo. Like, my honest to God opinion, I don't think.
I don't think he's better than Ronaldo. But
if they saw out their careers in the right wing, like Ronaldo,
he's better than Ginola.
Yeah.
What's that?
He's better than David Ginola.
Once again, I thought Ginola had, like I said,
better than McManaman. Wait, I've just realised.
For me, David Beckham's strong point was his crossing. But maybe he didn't have to use so much the other facets in his game, or maybe he didn't have to really develop so much the other facets in his game when you rely strongly on your right.
Hold up. What facets hasn't he got in his game? He's actually got some speed. He just didn't need to use it.
But do you think he's better? He's got better control than David Ginola?
He had great control. I'm not saying he's better than
Ginola.
Yes.
You think David Beckham had better passing than David Ginola?
Yes. Yes, he was a great passer. If he couldn't cross or he couldn't do long range shots, and even
I don't mean in the air
across the floor, dude, he was an amazing passer. He had a different technique to every other player in the Premier League. Every player in the Premier League. Then people started to copy him. The guy, as a winger, like he did everything. He just didn't get the credit for it because he played with Keane, Giggs and Scholes.
I don't know. I don't know if he didn't.
He would. It would have been. It would have been highlighted more if he played for Liverpool.
You've got such a strong tool in your box, and you don't really have to display too much else. Like for me, I would say
You showed
Ginola
it for England.
For me, I'd say Ginola is a better dribbler, and for me, personally,
Dribbler,
in terms of wing play, like that's what I look for first. It's just a preference. Like I do respect the fact that he had a wonderful right foot, like he played for us.
He had more attributes than Ginola. Ginola was great at running past players and dribbling, but if you're talking,
that's for me the pure. That's for me the pure winger.
Link up play.
The winger. I mean, it is just boiling down to preference here because, like I said, it's the pure winger. Like David Beckham, you could probably move him a little bit more central because at the end of the day, if he's crossing the ball, he can still make the range. Like it's for me, the purer, more traditional winger is David Ginola. But like I said, look, we're talking about 5 and 6. Like that's all it is. Like
but we had
Bale. Ahead of that is Bale and Ronaldo and those types of players. So
we're not talking about 5, 6. You had him at 6, and we had. I had him at 2, and John had him at 1. So we're talking about big differences.
But then, what do you contest? And so I can't have Giggs ahead of him.
No, that's fair. I think that's fair.
Ronaldo ahead of him. I know which ones you're going to contest.
If you're talking with the Ronaldo thing, wait. But if you're talking about the Ronaldo thing, I get it from ability-wise. Now, if we know what's happened. If we put Ronaldo as a winger, he'll be better than every other winger in the Premier League. But we're talking about as he performed up to being a winger, was he better than David Beckham?
The reason why he got opportunity after opportunity, the reason why he took over goalkeeper, the penalty duties, the reason why he took over free kick, that's trust in the player doing his job. And that came from him doing whatever he did on the wing. And yes, if he started asking, or if Ferguson said, it makes sense to push you up front, it's just the evolution. Same with Henry, same with Gareth Bale. It's the exact same thing. There's nothing different. If he wanted to play Henry his whole life in the wing, he will still have stats that would not change because it makes sense to push him up front, and that's what they did. But that doesn't take away from his wing ability. He is still a terrific winger. And for Ronaldo, he's still, for me, one of the best in the world if he wanted to be a winger. Like, even now, if I pop him into the wing right now, today, if I put Ronaldo in the wing right now, today, you're trying to tell me he's not top 10,
No. You're not understanding. I'm not saying.
I'm asking you.
Performance, ability-wise, yes. Ability, yes. That's what I said, though. I said ability. No, but
right now.
But we're
not talking about
a youngster.
We're talking about Premier League. What he performed in the Premier League.
Even in the Premier League, where do you think it started? This whole story started. He left us for 80 million or whatever it was. Why do you think these things happened? Because he just
anyway,
1 season or 2
we were talking about Beckham.
You don't think they saw his whole evolution and said, "Hang on, he started like this and he's gone all the way over here."
Oh no!
He's scoring now.
We've got him started now. Wait. But we're talking about Beckham here. I want to just ask you something with this Ginola thing.
Ask the Sporting Lisbon head coach.
But we've done the Ronaldo thing. We've done the Ronaldo, bro. As Ginola thing. The Ginola thing, right? Did he get called up by a team like Real Madrid?
Or did he play for Newcastle?
Or did he play? Or exactly. He played for
Newcastle. Were good
and
in that
Beckham
day.
went to Madrid. That just shows the level of difference as a winger. Dude, it's game over. If I could drop this mic now, I would drop it.
Gravison plays for Real Madrid, so
this argument's over.
You can't pass all of that stuff. They went and bought Gravison, bro. Come on. Let's be fair. Are you sure? Newcastle not big in the 90s? Come on.
No, but you're on the ropes now defending.
You're on the ropes,
who would you want? McManaman or Beckham?
How are you caning Newcastle from the 90s?
or Beckham?
Suraj, who do you want? McManaman or Beckham? Right? Who you having in your team?
Blasphemy that's coming out of his mouth.
Who you having in your team? If you just had to play 11 v 11.
I still haven't got from my 10.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You're having Beckham, McManaman or Ginola. If you had to pick one of those 3.
For right wing?
Just, to play a game now.
Oh, no.
Don't tell me, because then you'll order.
I think you're knocked out.
Shut up. You're limiting.
Don't tell me to shut up.
On how I want to get it down.
Who are you picking?
Right?
He's asked you a question.
I'd have Ryan Giggs from the left-hand side.
No. Answer the question. You've lost.
Why don't you add Ronaldo into the argument? And then it's
no, because that's not the question.
Because you put McManaman and Ginola ahead of Beckham, so he's asked you the question.
Which one?
I told you. If I have Giggs on the left.
No. Answer the question. Start.
I know where you live.
So if it's a one-man team, I'm going to start off with Beckham because if he's crossing then at least I can make that ball, right?
Hold on, John. That's it. He knocked you out. It's finished. Game over. Carry on now. Go to your list.
6 Beckham, 7 Robert Perez. That's
Yeah.
getting,
Man made a Perez.
okay, you'll probably all attack me.
Wait, Ginola over.
I know.
Perez.
Don't.
Wait, this is all. No, let's scratch that. I'm not bringing it up.
21 goals.
Walk
42
off this
assists.
podcast.
Trying to
No,
Ginola.
this is
Leave him
horrible.
alone. It's from a different era, right? Everyone got better as football.
I'm
went
not
along.
judging him. I'm
Respect the
judging
ones that
you.
respect the ones that were trying to rap when they didn't have sports science and stuff.
Go on. What's your controversial one pick? Go on.
All right, if you think that is bad, this is even more controversial. I went for Arjen Robben in number 8. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
In your top 10?
Admittedly, he had a short Premier League career. Admittedly,
Yeah, he played 67 games.
He had a short career.
Top 15.
It's not
One
fair
man
that you
had
guys can
more
pick
assists
guys
than
that
he
have
had
had
games.
one game and you're like, wow, he's right. Arjen Robben didn't have the biggest career, but can you not tell me that he's not talented?
Yeah,
Like,
but
can you
that's
not
not the
look at
point.
That is
Well, he
Was
did
he
play
the
in the game
best in the
in
Premier League?
I thought in terms of wing play and in terms of facing this guy, right?
In the Premier League.
Even in the Premier League, it
Based
doesn't
on
matter.
only
Even
Premier
a
League
broken
football.
Arjen Robben in the Premier League, I still thought was ridiculously good. I think technically, come on, you can't take away from this guy, right? Dutch technical master.
No,
Arjen
good
Robben.
player, but if I look at his Premier League career, I didn't
Yeah,
see
but
him.
I'm
He
judging
only
him
played
on
well in
talent.
the last how many?
I'm judging
games?
him on what
30
I'm judging
games
him
or
on what he
something
did.
like
If you're
that?
judging him while he was injured and at home, I can't judge him. Okay, but if you're judging him on what he can do and what he did,
Yeah, but you're basing it on the Bayern Munich performances. You're not basing it on just Chelsea performances. And if you're doing that, he should not be on the list.
well, he had. Look, admittedly, it was a short career. It was only like 15 goals, 16 assists. But in terms of the winger that Arjen Robben is, he's world class.
So
He was so one-footed.
is Arjen Robben better than Hazard in the Premier League?
As a winger.
I'll wait for the answer.
He's asking you.
Yeah, but are you basing it on his career or are you giving him another
Easy
chance to have a
questions
go
for
at the
me.
Premier League?
Huh?
I said, are you basing it on his career? Like I said,
No,
it
the
wasn't
Premier
This
much
is
of
the
a
Premier League
career, but-
wingers, dude. This is the top 10 Premier League wingers. This is not the top 10 international wingers.
Okay, look, he had a really short stint. He did have a short stint. I admit that, but I also will admit that Arjen Robben is a world-class footballer, even at Chelsea.
Not top 10 of Premier League though. Not to that. Not Hazard. Hazard performed really well for Chelsea.
Hazard's not in my top 10.
Oh my god.
He's my omission. I don't know why I thought of him more as a number 10. I know he plays wing forward. I don't know. It's messy business. Number 9, John Barnes.
Yeah, I had
Fair.
but yeah.
Number 10, I had issues, and I think I went the right way, judging by how you guys are kind of judging my selections. So originally, I was kind of thinking Kanchelski's.
I thought about Kanchelski because
because he's in my head a traditional, pure type of winger.
he was iconic as well when we were growing up.
But no one else has mentioned him. Like,
No, he was. I put him as number 11.
It was like,
so
He was close for me.
yeah.
it was like I was thinking Marcus Lamars, and then I kind of went for Mane. Gone for Sadio Mane. So I didn't go Sterling. I haven't got Hazard.
I had him high, but that's fine.
I feel like, okay, if I was to judge it again and allow myself to believe Hazard is wing forward, or winger, I would have to have him in there. But I guess I thought about the role slightly differently. And for me, he's like, again, he's someone like he should be pushed central. He's a goal and assist machine. He should be pushed central. Sort of similar argument what you'd probably use for Ronaldo that I've used the reverse way around. So I've just kind of suited it to my argument, I guess.
You need to change your list.
Clearly. You guys hate David Ginola. I grew up.
No,
I've got him in my list. I just had him at number 9.
4 or whatever you put him as. You put him above Beckham. Can you imagine that compliment for him?
Right, Beckham got in the top 10. He was number 6.
Sorry, but he put him ahead of Hazard. He put him ahead of Mane. He put him ahead of Bale. Come on. Sorry, Ginola was
I would
good.
put him ahead of Bale. I wouldn't put Beckham ahead of Bale. I think Bale.
No. We're talking about Ginola. Like I didn't put him ahead of any of those three.
I didn't have him ahead of Bale.
But you had him ahead of Hazard and Mane.
I had him ahead of Beckham, thinking that he's got more Arsenal overall. Like
do you know what Mane's done in the last 2 seasons? I just want to point that one out. Like Liverpool had one of the highest totals, and they just missed out on the league. They won the Champions League, and now they're going to win the league this year.
Well, who are we talking about? Sadio Mane.
Yeah. So
he's my number 10.
Yeah. See, I put him as a kind of a striker.
He's my number 10.
Mind. Otherwise, he'd have made it,
though, doesn't he?
Like for me as well, he's a little bit more traditional as well. Like so he actually stays out on the wing for a little bit longer before coming central and trying to. Do you know what I mean? So he does the runs but he actually builds up there. Yeah. But yeah, the last one was between Mark Overmars, Kanchelskis, and Mane, and I've gone Mane overall because even though I like Mark Overmars and
did you say you had Hazard?
I feel like Mane again brings more overall. He's not just pacey. He's not just technical. He's not just good with his feet. It's like there's a combination of a lot of things there, as opposed to someone like Mark Overmars, who just like someone like David Beckham, they can rely on one particular facet strongly, and then the rest, I don't know so much about the rest of it. Do you know what I mean?
We should have had Chidi on here. We should have had Chidi.
So Mark Overmars utilises phenomenal pace, right? And David Beckham utilises the phenomenal cross range that he has, and that's why. So for me, when I was picking people like David Ginola and that lot, it's just because I felt they had more. If I in a team, Beckham is superb if you got like your Ruben Nistelrooy who puts it away. But if he's crossing to me or someone trash, like you got a.
Dude, he doesn't necessarily need to cross to the person. He can he does like through balls by long range shots, and he can actually do well across the floor. He was a great passer across the floor.
So if he's playing my team, he wouldn't have to do any of that.
Yeah, but he that's not the point. Okay, never mind. We're not on the bench, and I can't believe this. A United supporter
can brand my team for me.
Where he disrespected David Beckham.
He's number 6 in all-time Premier League.
No, you put McManaman ahead of him. Sorry, that's such disrespectful.
The only one that you disagree with is maybe McManaman as well.
It's not necessarily the players; it's the order you've put them in.
Yeah. Well, no.
But listen, look, I don't know how much attention I've given my order. Like really.
Also, so Hazard didn't make your top 15.
Who?
The main thing is the main thing for me is number 1. Like that was the easiest bit.
It made his top 15. It didn't make his top 10.
No, because he said it was Kanchelski. Who else? Overmars, Mane.
Mane gets in though.
Yeah, so he had 14 and 15 left, so he probably had to have picked Hazard.
I just didn't.
He doesn't want to.
I omitted Hazard, meaning that I didn't consider him. Yeah. Just like you didn't consider who was it? I can't remember who you.
I omitted Mane because I classic. Well, okay. I just had him in my mind.
Rishi omitted someone as well, where he was like, "Oh no, I just didn't think."
McManaman.
I
omitted McManaman. Yeah, but that's a better omission, like to have him in number 11 or 12 than have Robin in there, have Kanchelski as Ginola and Beckham.
I was thinking of Hazard as a playmaker.
12 matches or whatever it was.
Okay, look. If I take out David Ginola altogether and I pop in, make it better. Right, so that's our lot then.
Yeah, okay. It's good that you went last, Suraj. It'll be highlighted.
It's good. It's good. My fantasy 11, my first team 11 is clearly miles better than my pick at the wingers. But the thing is, I won't need 10. If you allowed me to pick 2 of these guys, I'll be sorted.
Yeah.
2 wingers, 2 centre mids for my actual top 10, top 5 even. I'll be sorted.
All right, cool. We're done?
Sorted.
All right, cool.
What's the time? 4:20. Coming up to 4:20, yeah?